We all remember the thousands of people in West Michigan who took to the streets protesting racial and social injustices. A lot of the energy was fueled by some of the youngest people in the crowd, Generation Z.
Lauren Edwards spoke with a few Gen Z activists who say their fight is far from over.
When I think of last summer, I kind of think of all the unity that people had together. We had a lot of numbers, a lot of people showing up to this event, up to 3,000 people.
And Allie Bates was one of them, among the thousands who marched through the streets of Grand Rapids in May 2020 after the death of George Floyd.
It was very moving to see this many people come together for one common cause, especially on the local level, and especially seeing the younger generations like myself being the focal point of the movement.
According to the Pew Research Center, Generation Z, or people born after 1996, were at the helm of many protests and events in 2020. And their tech savviness helped them organize.
We definitely know how to work social media in terms of getting our voices out there.
And get the message out that when the riots occurred, local activists were not involved. Soon after, Bates founded Justice for Black Lives, which later created Breonna Taylor Way, honoring the GR native who was killed by Louisville police in 2020. She says their goal is justice, like other groups in West Michigan.
When I think of the summer, I think of passion. I think of sweating and knowing that COVID was out there and masking up and staying 6 feet. But, you know, that's what bullhorns are for.
But at the end of the day, we stand for what we stand for.
Community advocate Marshall Kilgore was one of the many in the Kalamazoo area who marched and protested, even painting over messages of injustice on the streets of Schoolcraft. He says he's proud of his Gen Z peers for leading the charge.
This generation is one that has pushed inclusion, has pushed, using folks' correct pronouns. How easy is that?
He says Gen Zers living through 9/11 and mass shootings and climate change has motivated many to protest.
We hear so much about, recycling or personal reduction, and that just never felt big enough.
But organizing and participating in climate strikes was a perfect fit for 15-year-old Tara Workman and other teenagers with the Sunrise Movement. She says they're all about holding government officials accountable.
We can come across as like being naive or idealistic, but it's because we can feel that urgency and we know that this is the change that we need for our futures.
Because now is the time, she says. The activists say they'll continue to fight for change until they see it happen.
I want to leave the world a better place than what it was when I came into it.
In Grand Rapids, Lauren Edwards, Fox 17 News.
Well, the activists say people can expect more protests and demonstrations this year, with George Floyd's murder trial just beginning. And of course, the one-year anniversary of Breonna Taylor's death coming up. There's several events happening around the city, and you can stay with Fox 17 for the very latest.